How does it make you feel to consider that the price of gold could easily hit $2,500 next year, 2023? Heck, could it hit $25,000? That sounds outrageous, right? But think about what went on with all these unicorn toot dust cryptocurrencies, right? They went up by 10 times, 20 times easily in 1 year. So we're talking about silver. We're talking about gold. Real assets that have held value for thousands and thousands of years. But no, they can't go up by 10 times. Well, maybe, just maybe, have you considered there's a perfect storm brewing right now? Two big factors we need to look at. And we need to look a little into the future, right? That's hard because, it's a lot easier to look in the past or look in the present, but we're going to look out into the future. Try to see the forest through the trees and see how the price of gold and silver, because of this perfect storm, could be set to catapult. Let's get started right now. Let's talk about two big factors, the economy and inflation. We're going to keep it simple, no fancy graphs or complicated technical terms, but what we want to do is look at those two factors and see, right? The key here is to see how what's going on with them is creating very fertile ground for the price of silver and gold. First, the economy. Do you see the economy slowing down where you are? I see it all around me. One of my viewers is in the lawn care business, and he sent me an email and said, I have never seen customers pull back on their spending on their yards like I've seen in the last 3 weeks. Walmart had great earnings until you dig in, and what they explicitly said was more affluent, wealthy shoppers are now coming to Walmart to buy their groceries. So people aren't spending more money, they're just shifting from the higher end retail grocers to the more affordable discount chain like Walmart. Target put out earnings this morning. They were horrible. The CEO even said he saw a significant decrease in consumer activity at the end of the third quarter. We know the Democrats threw everything but the kitchen sink at the economy before the midterm elections. Those stimulative type efforts like draining our strategic oil reserve, those are done. And the final thing we need to remember about the economy, have you considered that all these aggressive moves made by the Federal Reserve and Jerome Powell, those interest rates, those aggressive monetary policy decisions, they take time to filter through the economy. It's kind of like starting an exercise program or something, right? It takes like 6 months. There's lagging effects. Now, we're going to see some major changes in two key areas with lagging effects. Number one, the real estate market, which we know is already in free fall. But number two, employment. That will be the big one. And that's an important one, supposedly, to the Federal Reserve, right? They're supposed to keep maximum employment. Employment's a huge lagging indicator. It takes 3 to 6 months. Bank of America says 175,000 actually, per month layoffs will occur during each month in the first quarter of 2023. Next, we're going to move on to inflation. And do you think maybe people are starting to lose a little confidence in the Fed? We're going to cover that. First, thank you for deciding to join me right now from wherever you are in the world. Here in the basement, it's just me and you. I value you. You are the most important part of Ron's Basement. You can subscribe right here. Turn on the bell if you like. Now let's talk about inflation and the Federal Reserve. We know it's been a major issue, right? We don't need to talk about that for any longer. But what we're going to see in the next 3 to 6 months is inflation is not going to go away. Sure, it was 7.7% last month. That's still very high inflation. And the Fed can't control the price of oil, can't control the price of food. So as we move into these next 3 to 6 months, right? This is when the perfect storm comes together. We've got an economy going down, but inflation remaining stubbornly high. What's the Fed to do to stimulate the economy? They need to be looser with their monetary policy, and we're already hearing hints of that. But if they're looser with their monetary policy, that adds fuel to the inflation fire. It just makes inflation get worse, right? So let's stop for 1 second and think about this, because at this point, 3 to 6 months from now, we're at a key pivotal point. The economy is slowing. Inflation is still high. The Fed is forced to be looser with monetary policy to try to accommodate the needs of the economy, but that will do nothing but add fuel to the inflation fire. At that point, the market realizes the Fed is screwed, sorry to use that word, and they lose confidence in the Federal Reserve, lose confidence in their ability to fight inflation. And when the market loses confidence in the Fed's ability to fight inflation, and the guy Goldman Sachs actually said the same thing a couple of weeks ago, when they, meaning the market, realized that the Fed is powerless at that point, that's when the price of gold and silver literally explode. Because that's when we're talking about stagflation and loss in confidence in the Fed's ability to fight inflation. It will be good days for us gold and silver investors. It'll be like gold and silver drank one of those Red Bull energy drinks and will just go up and up and up. Look, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm just sharing with you my opinions about what I think might happen. I like to look out into the future. It's hard to go out there into the future. I'm sure you feel the same way yourself, but that's what we want to do and need to do as we attempt to provide safety and security for ourselves, for our families, for each other. Again, thanks for joining me in Ron's Basement. Know that you're always welcome here, and until next time, you be well.